Global happenings today. We communicate. We analyze global news.
Hello beautiful people, welcome back to our channel. Now this video is a must watch. I would like you to watch and listen to this elder statesman from the north who decided to explain exactly the situation of the political scene in Nigeria using a case study of the south, and why in all sincerity this is not something that is contestable. Let's take a listen. We'll be back on this. Please listen.
Today, the number of people in Yorubas that are skeptical in Yoruba speaking areas, as I'm trying to say, are more skeptical of an Igbo presidency than anybody from the north. Why? Because northerners are not competitors to the Igbos, but the Yorubas are. What is the stake in Nigeria? The education and capital. We don't have the capital in the north. We don't have enough educated people. We will have one day, I know. There will be a time when we will surpass the south. The time is coming. But it's not now. It's not there yet. So there is no serious competition between the north and the south, is except the unfortunate ill feeling of the civil war. Well, my suggestion is this: that one, I'll direct it to our Igbo compatriots, that they should go out, seek understanding with fellow Nigerians. Tell them that, in fairness, they should be supported to produce the next president. But don't let them issue threats. Threat wouldn't work when you are looking for something like this, because threat doesn't get you votes. This thing is a matter of casting vote. When somebody goes into booth to cast his vote, it will be he and his God alone. So win his heart. Don't try to antagonize him. If you antagonize him, he will not vote for you. And he has not committed any sin or offense. So persuade, this is the reason why political parties campaign. It's just to persuade people. Election is a matter of persuasion. I will just send this message to my Igbo compatriots. I have a lot of them who are my friends, but unfortunately a lot of them have gone. But I still have some, even though they are not my age mates. Let them moderate their method of appeal for votes, but it will pay them better if they use better language in trying to win votes from Nigerians. We are all better off in Nigeria. Like I said before, any village you go, you see the presence of Igbo. If you don't see him physically, you will see electricity bulbs bought from the Igbo. You will see spare parts bought from the Igbo, and so many other things. So even where Igbos have not been able to produce a president in Nigeria, they dominate economic life of Nigeria. When you dominate a market of 200 million people, you better be counting on them in your calculation. You stay in Nigeria as your country. Nobody can drive you out. You sell your wares anywhere you like. You wouldn't have that if there is no Nigeria. Igbos and Hausas are the people who go out of their original habitat, but the Yorubas don't. We are not like them. So I'm advising the younger men, you see, we are finished, but the younger men, the tomorrow is for you. Don't destroy your future. Don't let some of our cantankerous people who are inciting you to leave Nigeria. Don't leave. Don't do that. It's not for your own good. Thank you very much.
All right, welcome back. It's clearer now that no matter what anybody is saying, don't let anyone gaslight you. Peter Obi is truly working. He's genuinely building bridges and it's beginning to show. Northern elites are beginning to buy the idea of an Igbo president. And he's saying literally that they are not opposed to Igbo presidency. Igbos are naturally, Southeasterners are naturally industrious persons. They even after the Biafran war, they have come out stronger. But if there's any opposition of any kind or any some sort of opposition that doesn't want Southeastern presidency as someone from our Southeastern extraction to rule Nigeria, then it just could be from the South itself, where they believe that you are the kingmaker. You are also the king, you are also the judge, you are the jury. It feels that it gives a particular region too much immense power. What do I mean? Southeasterners are known to be very industrious, even while they are not in full swing of the political situation of the country, although we have pickets here and there. The people have been able to show their strength, their industriousness by creating a niche for themselves in other industries, even though, and somehow they've been able to survive whatever economic stress. And an average Igbo man who goes into business finds a way of surviving, and that can be said by other persons, although others too have their strengths, but the strength of the Igbo man, if everybody knows from the Southeastern region, is the fact that if you come to a place and you do not see an Igbo man there, Southeasterner there, then maybe that place is not habitable, because they can go anywhere and everywhere for business, for enterprise, in as much as there's profit in it. And it has nothing to do with politics. They adapt to every political policies being made, regardless if their own is on or not. And people feel, or some other regions feel, that have such powerful strength in economy and also having such power given to them politically, just maybe some regions will feel quote unquote marginalized. Such powers for one region having such economical power and also having political power, and they feel that they could use it to their advantage to the point that no other region will come close to them. Imagine they believe that the Southeasterner being the president could begin to drive economy to the Southeast. But let's tell ourselves the truth. When a Southwesterner became the president, he drove all economic powers to Lagos State. But then again, that's going to wrap it up. Let's meet in our conversation. What's your take on this analogy on this?